The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
A while ago, I was invited by an organization to speak at their organizational dinner. It was held in a beautiful hall. And before I left my house to go to the hall, there was a man that came to the door. He knocked on the door and he said, Rabbi, Rav Goldwasser, I've got to speak to you. I will just take 1 minute of your time. I spoke to him and he began to cry. He's a rather big man. And he told me that he has a son. And the son needs a little bit of a special chinuch. And the son was told that in order to continue, the father would have to come up with several $1,000s. They simply can't afford. It's too much money. They have no hope of getting that money together. He came to me, the father, for an Eitzah Tova, for some advice, for something that I could possibly tell him that would help. When someone comes like that to you, what are you going to do? How possibly can you help him? All I told him was, I will try. I'll put forth an effort. I'll make my own ishtadlus. Give to me your telephone number and address. And Be'ezer Hashem Yisbarach, I hope that I'm able to do something. The father thanked me profusely and left. I then went to the dinner to speak for the organization. Somehow, while I was speaking about the funds needed for that organization, a rather large organization, I couldn't withhold. I couldn't hold myself back. And I said, I want to tell you where the economy is right now. I want to tell you the needs in Klal Yisrael. And I began to speak about that father that came, about his son who needs that special chinuch, and how he doesn't have the money to go on. And I made my appeal by using that man and his son of how much money is needed in today's times. I finished the appeal. I finished the speech. I sat down for a few minutes, and before the program went on, I excused myself because I had to leave. I go to the check room to get my coat, and there's a man that's waiting for me. The man says, excuse me, Rav Goldwasser? I said, yes. He says, could I have your address? I said, you would like my address? He says, yes, just your address. I gave to him my address. He looked at me, rather a strange way, and he said, could you tell me how much money is necessary for that boy to continue his Torah chinuch? I told him, $6,500. He said, thanks a lot, smiled, and left. Put my coat on. I thought it was strange. And late that night, I arrived back at my house. Underneath the door of my home was an envelope with $6,500 with a note from that most generous Yid, that Yid with such a heart. I could not help, but after listening to your delivery, try and help this boy out in my own way. Thank you for the mitzvah. Well, I called that father up, and I told the father I got to see him immediately. The man came then. This was late at night. He appeared at the door. I opened the door, and when I told him, the grown man put his head into his hands and could not stop crying. I gave to him the envelope. He put it deep into his pocket. He waved to me, but he still could not speak. He could not even bring out the words to tell me his feelings. He left. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. Who is like the Jewish people? That is Avas Yisrael.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org